Have you ever noticed how some of the most fascinating sci-fi movies seem to slip under everyone's radar? You'll stumble on one by chance, only to realize it left a more lasting impression than a big-budget blockbuster. Today, I've rounded up 10 underrated science fiction films that deserve a top spot on your watch list. Don't forget to drop your own underrated recommendations in the comments because I'm always on the lookout for new discoveries. What if you could meet another version of yourself? That's the mind-bending question at the heart of Another Earth, a quietly powerful drama that unfolds in the shadow of a remarkable scientific discovery, a duplicate planet in our solar system. The film follows a young woman weighed down by guilt after a tragic accident, who becomes obsessed with the idea of visiting Earth 2 to potentially right her wrongs, or at least confront what her life might have been. But don't expect grand spectacle. The sci-fi concept here largely stays in the background, allowing a deep reflection on second chances, forgiveness, and the human desire for redemption. Britt Marling, who co-wrote and stars, delivers a haunting performance that lingers long after the credits roll. The movie feels like a gentle nudge to look inward, reminding us that sometimes the hardest journey is facing ourselves. Now, imagine a pandemic that methodically steals your senses one by one. Perfect Sense takes that unsettling concept and weaves it into a bittersweet love story. Ewan McGregor plays a chef known for his casual flings, while Eva Green is a reserved scientist. They meet in a world where losing one's sense of taste, smell, or even sight becomes an inevitable reality. The sci-fi element is subtle, but it amplifies the film's emotional undercurrent, diving into how people adapt when something as fundamental as perception can disappear any day. It's a surprisingly uplifting story, though undeniably tinged with sadness. Even as society unravels, the leads cling to hope and discover unexpected ways to connect. If you've ever questioned how precious your everyday experiences are, this one will hit you right in the heart. Few films fuse emotional drama and science fiction quite like Never Let Me Go. At first glance, you're simply following three friends, Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy, growing up in a secluded English boarding school. But as their story unfolds, an unsettling truth emerges about their very existence and purpose. Adapted from Kazuo Ishiguro's novel by writer Alex Garland, the film explores mortality, love, and the question of what truly makes a life worth living. The sci-fi twist is understated, but it subtly raises ethical dilemmas that leave a profound impact. Carey Mulligan, Andrew Garfield, and Keira Knightley deliver heartbreaking performances that capture the weight of a destiny they never chose. This is one of those stories that sticks with you, quietly urging you to value the fragility of life and making you wonder if there's any limit to how far humanity will go to preserve its own comfort. Now let's pivot to something more twisted and tense, a Spanish thriller called Time Crimes. When Hector, an ordinary man, glimpses something strange in the woods, curiosity drives him to investigate, leading to a series of events that spiral wildly out of control. A bit of time travel, a locked scientific facility, and a mounting sense of dread all collide in a narrative puzzle that keeps turning in on itself. What starts as a seemingly simple chain of events quickly becomes a maze of cause and effect, and you'll constantly wonder just how everything will tie together. Despite its modest budget, Time Crimes uses creativity and pacing to deliver an edge-of-your-seat experience that proves a clever concept can outshine fancy special effects any day. If you like watching a character try, and often fail, to outsmart fate, this movie is a must-see. Fighting massive extraterrestrials may sound action-packed, but Monsters takes a more reflective route. Set 6 years after an alien life form crash-landed in Mexico, the film shows a quarantined, infected zone controlled by the military, where strange, tentacled creatures roam. Our perspective comes from an American photojournalist tasked with escorting his boss's daughter back to the US, forcing them to travel through the dangerous territory. The movie's title might fool you into thinking it's a typical creature feature, but it's more of a road movie with an introspective heart. While the monsters loom, the real focus is on human nature, fear of the unknown, empathy, and the moral lines we draw between us and them. The subdued approach creates a haunting, contemplative vibe that still lingers long after the final scene, proving that sometimes the biggest threats aren't the ones with claws. If you prefer your sci-fi drenched in neon cosmic horror, Color Out of Space is the definition of bizarre perfection. Adapted from an H.P. Lovecraft story, it starts with a meteorite crashing into a rural farmstead, slowly unleashing a psychedelic plague on both nature and the family who lives there. The visuals are a kaleidoscope of mesmerizing yet disturbing colors that hint at something wholly alien and indescribable. Add in Nicolas Cage, who goes from mild-mannered to completely unhinged in ways that somehow feel appropriate for the unfolding madness. And you've got a recipe for a memorably twisted time. Beneath the flashy exterior, the film questions how fragile our reality can be when confronted with forces beyond human comprehension. It's tense, it's disorienting, and you won't soon forget its mix of cosmic wonder and creeping dread. For a deeper plunge into existential despair, Aniara delivers a uniquely claustrophobic kind of space odyssey. Earth is uninhabitable, so humanity boards giant ships bound for Mars, hoping to start anew. But when one vessel is knocked off course, its passengers face an ever-expanding void with no way back. This isn't a hopeful tale of triumph against the odds. Instead, it takes a stark look at how people cope with hopelessness over time. Some cling to spirituality, others retreat into hedonism or denial. The sense of isolation becomes suffocating as the film brilliantly contrasts the cramped walls of the spaceship with the infinite emptiness outside. It's visually stunning, but emotionally heavy, so be prepared for a grim reflection on our collective need for purpose. If you're drawn to dark, introspective sci-fi that leaves you pondering humanity's place in the universe, Aniara should be at the top of your list. Switching gears to something grand yet intimate, Ad Astra follows an astronaut venturing to the outer reaches of the solar system to investigate a dangerous power surge that might be connected to his long-lost father's mission. Featuring one of Brad Pitt's most understated performances, the film balances heart-pounding sequences with stretches of quiet reflection, mirroring the enormous distances between planets and the emotional gulf between father and son. While it offers thrilling moments, like a lunar rover chase under a dark, crater-filled sky, the real reward lies in the introspection. Themes of abandonment, obsession, and the lengths we'll go to find answers linger long after the credits. Ad Astra reminds us that sometimes the biggest journey isn't measured in miles, but in learning how to face our own fears and vulnerabilities. Give it a second chance if it didn't click for you the first time. It's a grower. Few films capture the awe and terror of space like Sunshine, set in a future where the sun is dying and a crew of astronauts is humanity's last hope for reigniting it. While real-world science might raise an eyebrow, the emotional core and the spectacular visuals are undeniable. The cast, Cillian Murphy, Chris Evans, Rose Byrne, Michelle Yeoh, and more, brings tense chemistry to a mission where each decision could mean life or extinction for Earth. Directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, the film weaves in philosophical musings about humanity's place in the cosmos. Yes, it's true that the third act changes gears, shifting into more of a psychological thriller, but that tonal pivot actually adds a new layer of dread, forcing the characters to confront not just the deadly power of the universe, but the darker impulses within themselves. Finally, if you've ever wondered where The Matrix and Inception might have drawn some inspiration, Dark City offers a stylish, mind-bending glimpse into a world where it's perpetually nighttime, and nothing is quite what it seems. A man with amnesia races to uncover why a mysterious group called the Strangers appears to control the city and reality around him. This film merges a dystopian noir aesthetic with sci-fi elements that question the nature of identity. Rufus Sewell, Jennifer Connelly, and Kiefer Sutherland anchor a labyrinthine plot that's best experienced with as few spoilers as possible. Though it predates some of the more famous reality-bending blockbusters, its smaller budget never hinders the stunning visuals or bold storytelling. If you're up for a mind-twisting trip that asks whether our memories define us, give Dark City the attention it's always deserved. And there you have it. 10 underrated sci-fi films that prove innovation and emotional resonance can sometimes thrive outside the spotlight of mainstream hype. Each one tackles a different corner of the genre, from existential dread to heartwarming romance, challenging your assumptions about what science fiction can be. Whether you're in the mood for cosmic horror, quiet introspection, or a good old-fashioned brain teaser, these hidden gems are sure to leave you thinking about them long after they end. Don't forget to share your own underrated favorites down in the comments. I can't wait to see what you recommend. Until next time, keep exploring the endless possibilities of science fiction and discovering those lesser-known masterpieces that deserve a little more love.